Welcome to Trading Lounge and the European indices for Tuesday, November the 8th, and starting on the daily chart for the DAX. And I've got this in as a low here, but that cannot be confirmed as yet. We would need to get to support that here. We would need to see 5 waves up here. So we could look at this as 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 5 here to get 5 waves up here for that. Then we'd also need an ABC pattern back after that to confirm a bullish move to the upside at that point. It's at that point here where we can look to go long at that point. So this move up here can be counted as an ABC pattern and can terminate pretty much just where it is here. We'll take a closer look at that in a moment. The reason that we can look at calling a low in here is because of the US dollar index and having a possible top in play, and that means that the pound and the euro can also have lows in place as well. So we still need to confirm that, but this type of 5-wave structure up here would be in one way looking at that. So if we're looking at it in a bullish light, we'll go to this bullish count here, and then we'll go to the 10k and so on. So let's just go into the 20k. We had a look at this last time that we were here, so just adding to that a little bit. So this is a slightly different count here, but it's one way to view the situation. There's other ways to look at this as well. In fact, we can look at this move here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and put wave 1 here on this case. But I just want to run 2 counts here for the time being. Yeah, so there's that. So either way, we'd still need this to top out here, and then we would also need to see a wave 4 come back here somewhere into this space, and then another move up at that point. So that will start to give us that 5-wave move at that point, but we'll take a closer look at that on this 10k chart here. So in this case, we can look at this here, this A wave that's over here. We can look at this as wave 1 here and 2 here. If we're looking at a bullish count, but we can't confirm that yet, as 1 and 2, and then 3, 4 and 5 moving up that way. So otherwise we look at this as the A wave, the B wave, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 going up for wave 5 here. So in going up for wave 5 here, you can kind of see that. We'll take a closer look at this in a moment, but 1, 2, 3, 4 and coming up to 5. So it shouldn't be too much further up here in terms of seeing this roll over at this point. Now, that's kind of interesting really, because that's where we're looking at the the S&P 500 at that point as well. So with the S&P 500, if I could just take a liberty on that for a moment, looking at wave 1 here coming down, and then looking at an A and a B, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for wave C of 2, and then counting down for 1 here, and then looking back for an A, B and C here for wave 2. So we'll just see how this moves up here. It's got a little bit to go, but that's 61.8%. It will hit supply here and stall. It's looking a little bit corrective as this moves off here, which so we just need to see if we get a turn here, or if this just continues to the upside at that point. But that's the S&P, and so that turn here could be in line with the S&P as the A wave, the B wave and the C wave into this point. We'll take a closer look at that now on let me just check. So yeah, so probably not a lot to go in here. I'm just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's all good. That's all good for there. I just assume that's okay as 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a third, fourth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all good. ABC here, probably one ABC for 2, 3, 4 here, and then looking for a move just above that move here somewhere. I suppose, I mean, the next level here, of course, is the 8 up here, but below that is group 2, so that's the 650. So somewhere in here could be a nice target sort of area for that. I mean, obviously it can be above or below, but you know, it should gravitate. Well, the 600 is also important to a point. So that should finish off at that point. So let's just see how that goes. And you know, well, I mean, it can be a wave 4 pulling back, or it can be a top in place. So that's the thing, isn't it, at this point? So we've either got wave C or wave 3 here for that. We can still short it, but just want to have a look at the first step is to get a little 5-wave structure to the downside, so you can, you know, work the entry and the stop loss at that point. So if you can see 5 waves down and then find a little corrective move back again, then that's what you're looking for at that point to short here. If you can count 5 waves down clearly, a bit like this here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but in reverse, then you can look for that 61.8%, start building in from that side. So that's the DAX, and the stock 50s are much the same as well. I've got it counted slightly differently because it depends how you want to count this here. I've counted this as 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 here, and then 3, 4, and 5 here for this. So we're in here yesterday somewhere, I think. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 finishing here. So I won't worry about this just too much here. I've got this counted slightly different, but it'll be interesting just to see. I mean, now it's got support in group 2 here. It's sort of a thing it likes to stay at that point. But I won't worry about this one too much. I'm just going to move on. So the FTSE here, the same thing applies here as well. We could call a low in here. Or if we call a low in here, we'll need 5 waves up to do that. But currently we can look at it as an A and a B and a C wave up here. Or we're going to look at it as 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5 up here. So yeah, there's still more to unfold here. I mean, I was just looking at this as a possible triangle pattern here. Not a very good case, but I mean, if we did come down, we'll either come down in 3 waves or 5 waves in this case. So and you can just double XY most of this across here as well. I was just looking at different ways to look at it, but besides that, let's just go into this trend where we've been at 5K, and there we go. So this is where we were not only yesterday, but we did a bit of a flip-flop and changed around here, but we're back to our original count here. So that's a bit of a lesson, but also too, it's interesting that we can look at this as the A, the B, and then 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, where, you know, because you're contemplating that with the DAX and the stock 50, how to, on the DAX we've pulled those together, but you could separate them as well. But it counts quite nicely from this point. I mean, the whole thing counts reasonably nicely. It's just, you know, do you call this wave 1 here? That's the question, you know. And the question will come really from the US dollar index, I reckon. So that's what we'll also be looking at, even if you don't normally trade those things. It's probably a good idea just to have a look at that today. We're going to have a look at the bigger picture. So in this case here, we're still looking for another move to the upside here for this. Stochastics is pulling back nicely, so a nice strong 3rd wave here, 1 and 2, and I mean, you could probably even keep building this as 1s and 2s further up here, but we'll just go step by step and keep it minimal. But if you wanted to trade long, getting support on the 7.3 here, you know, back up there on the 7.3, getting support up here would be the go. So you just need a little classic trading levels pattern here for that. Even if you can get to the 7.4 from 7.3 to 7.4 would be good. Rightio. So the currency. So with the dollar index here, look, the bottom line is that if we have a top in play here, then we've got a low in place for the pound and the euro and the indices. So probably the DAX and the S&P 500, they can have lows in place and build to the upside while this pulls on down here. Now, in terms of pulling down here, there's different ways to count all of this. The natural way to do this would be go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up here, and look at that as wave 1 up here, and then look for an A and a B and a C wave back into the 61.8% here, and then move up from that point. That would be, you know, looking at it as face value type thing. But sometimes it's not always that easy, because when you count that up here, as I've mentioned before, looking at this as wave 1 here, because it's a nice wave 1 and a nice wave 2 here, and a nice wave 3 here, but wave 4 here overlaps the top of wave 1 here. So then you would think to yourself, well, okay, maybe I need to look at this as wave 1 here and wave 2 here, and then look at these 5 waves as wave 1 here and then 2 here. So a bigger building pattern to the upside, you know. So I could put, you know, I could put this back over to here and then push this one up to this point here and push this one to this point here. So there's a whole series of 1s and 2s going to the upside, you know. So that's all doable at this point, you know, as well. So there's a few ways to view this. So the first thing was really to establish if we've got, you know, a top in play here, because there's also the possibility that we could just come back to the 38.2% and then come up here and then have an ABC correction at that point, which I think would be, I think that's kind of the go really. But yeah, it just depends on how you want to count this low here. That's the tricky thing with all of this here, and you can count this up here in different ways as well. But that's the thing, is that's there. So it's kind of interesting. We'll come back to that in a moment. We'll have a look at that in a bit of detail. The euro here, let's just go to the monthly chart. That's 2K. I'm just going to put 2K there so I know that where I need to go back to in future as well. So this is the euro here, obviously, and it's a monthly chart, and I will talk about this in a moment, but it's quite a way off these lows here. In fact, it's pretty much around the 61.8% when we take that up to here. So it's around that 61.8% mark here, where interestingly enough, this is the pound here. So the pound has come back down, not quite at parity here on this chart, to 1984, 95 here, 85 here. So, you know, I can look at this move down through to here and then look at this as an A and a B and a C wave up here for wave 4, and then start counting this down as 1 and 2 here, and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here for the third wave, the fourth wave and the fifth wave here. But I know that double tops are never the end of the trend. So I've sort of reluctantly put, you know, a double bottom in here as an end to this here from wave 4 here as 1 and 2 here, you know. So this could certainly open up further down here in terms of, you know, we could end up just going down here for wave 1, for example, and going back for wave 2, and then coming down for like a wave 3, 4, you know, I could expand all of this really. That's not a problem, but it's a bit risky. You know, we'll get a bounce off the old low here, but it's a bit risky to say the double bottom is the low of it all, because it's not normally the case. So, I mean, it could be the fact that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to here, and then we come back up 61.8% of that move from here back up into one of the supply areas here. So if I put this here as the A wave, a B wave, and a C wave up here to the 61.8%, and then come down again at this point. So that's also possible as well. And then we'd look at all of this as just one here, which would make a little bit more sense in that case, wouldn't it? Looking at the whole thing and then looking at wave 2 over here. But either way, I mean, there's a long way to go for a bounce off here if that's going to be the case. I just don't think that wave 3 and 5 would end like this here. It's a pretty sort of rare case to do that, but it has come down further than the euro here. So with the euro here, this move to the upside from this low here, this move up here, is pretty much corrective, as pretty much an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave up here. This move down through here, it could end up being 5 waves and come down and take that low out here, just, you know, extend it down and come down and take that low out, because that here is a corrective pattern. At some point in the future, that low will be taken out. So that means that we could look at this in 2 ways. We could look at it in terms of an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down to where the B wave is here, because this here, so an A and a B and a C wave here for the B wave. So an A wave up here, a B wave here, and a C wave up here for that. That would move up from that low there. So this move down through here, we're looking at it as being pretty much completed, actually. So if the US dollar's got a top in it, then this here would also confirm as having a low in it. It could come back as a wave 4 here to this wave 4 or somewhere in here, and then come down again and have 5 waves into this move down here, or it can just move up into that space. So we'd have to sort that out within due course. But this being a monthly chart here for the euro, this move down through here hasn't seen a corrective rally back at this stage, and if it was going to do that, then it would likely do it at this wave 1, this parity level here. So yeah, it's likely to sort of stick here a bit on that note, you know. So it's possible to have a low in here at the moment with this. That means that the US dollar index would have a top in here at the moment. We still need to sort of confirm that top, and that's what I want to talk about now. So the pound with the double bottom and the euro with that move down can certainly have you know, lows in at that point, and are starting to move up at this stage. So that's also supportive for, you know, the DAX and the FTSE for being bullish at this point too, with the currencies being bullish, you know. So with this here, I'm just going to go to the daily chart here and just talk about this top little area here for a moment, because we've been discussing it for a while now in terms of, you know, is a top in place here or not. So the thing at the moment is that this low here to this move up through here, as we've been talking about this week and last week, has got 3 waves in it, so it's corrective in nature. And this move that's coming down here has got 5 waves in it. So it's probably likely to be wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here. So we can have a wave 4 sitting around this area here at the 38.2% retracement level at this point. It's a wave 4. So we could look at this as the A wave here coming down here, and then an AB, well, a WXY in here for the B wave, because that's in 3, taken from the top. So that's in 3 and that's in 3, so it won't be a normal ABC correction. So it will either be wave A and B, and then down for the C wave here. It may come down in 3 waves as well, as giving us a larger WXY. That's possible, because this particular move down here doesn't really soak up as 5 waves. You could do it as 5 waves, but the thing is there's a bit of overlap in wave 4 and 1 at that stage. So because we've got 5 waves down here, it looks like we'll get a 3-wave move back and then another 5 down. So, you know, that's going to be supportive for the stock market, commodities, currencies, all of that sort of thing. The other move comes deeper down back into the 100 here, or the 10,000 as a CFD product. So that's obviously a long way down. So we'll just see how that plays out. But let's go into the 2K tick chart in this little area here for this, and just have a look at this. And so we've either got wave 3 here, and we're going down into wave 4 over here now, or we've got wave 5 top in play. It just depends on how you count the first wave to the upside. Now this move down here, it looks like 5 waves here. The wave 3 is a little bit short, but it's sort of okay-ish. But wave 4 overlaps wave 1, but we see that a lot in derivatives. So is that okay or not okay? That's a question and another story, but we could view it as wave 1 or wave A here, and then look at this as a W and an ABC here for the X, and then an ABC here for the XY of B or 2 at this point. So I guess the main thing here is that what we've been doing yesterday and whenever is that we've been looking at this down here. We had it as wave 3 down here. I've just labeled it correctly in terms of its degree of structure according to this wave 4. But that might need to be changed if it's not a wave 4. But the thing is it doesn't matter. We've got 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, 4th, 5th for the third, the 4th, and we're coming down for the 5th here. So we should get some sort of ABC correction here, and then come down again here. So the euro and the pound can be doing the opposite at this point, because we got 5 waves here. Then we should get a bounce off this 11,000 area here, and just giving it a little bit of time for it mature. But yeah, so, and then down again. So this could be, this can be quite supportive. This move down here will definitely be supportive for gold and all those iron ore and copper and nickel and lithium and yada yada yada. So all the commodities, but also for the indices as well. So while this is going down here, we need to be a little bit mindful and think to ourselves, well, are the indices going to be doing the opposite of this here? And yeah, so that's something that we could work out. And if they are going to do the opposite, which they basically are at the moment, we've got the pound pushing, we've got the FTSE pushing up and the DAX pushing up, and if this continues down, will those indices continue to push up? And if that is the case, and what happens if we've got a top in play over here? That means we must have a low in place for the DAX as well. Do you know what I mean? And the pound and the euro at that point. So we'll have to go step by step and just keep an eye on things. But while this is going to be moving down, that's going to put support on those other markets. So with that in mind, if we take a look at where's my pound here, let's go here. So we can see that the market has come down here. If you've got a keen eye, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for this, and we've got a bit of a bounce off that double bottom, not quite on the low here. So it's quite possible that we can push up here. How far we go with this, and I'm not satisfied that that's wave 5 low here with this here. I think we're going to have some sort of correction and then come down. But the correction is what? Do we just come back to this wave 4 and then come down here in that, or do we push higher, or do we just go 61.8% up here? So we'll have to keep a bit of an eye on it. But we have to, I think we now need, because we've got that 5 waves down here, we'll need to look at the currencies in a view of pushing up higher at this point, and looking at this wave 4 to wave 5 here as being complete. So we'll go to the 10K where we've been viewing this here, and we'll need to look at it in a positive light, even though it can be a little bit tricky to do that. So the most positive light that I could shine on it would be looking at this here as wave 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, 4th and 5th for wave 1 or wave A, so going up in a bigger corrective pattern. and then look at this as wave 2, and then look at this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and then moving, continuing to move up through here. We do have a little 5-wave move in this here at the moment. So with that little 5-wave move here, that we can look at this as it's a little bit rough and ready, got a little bit of gap there, but from this low here we can look at this as 1 and 2 here. We could probably look at this as 1 2 3 4 5 for 1 and 2 here, and then the 3rd wave coming up into this space. So we'll the other way, look at this as 1 2 here and 3 4 here, and then looking at it doesn't really work like that. So yeah, we'll have to bundle all those together, I think. But what we'll look for, it doesn't really matter today, because it's going to hit this supply here. And when it hits that supply, what it's going to do is it's going to come back in 3 waves. So that's where we can pick it up from. And we can look at this as, we'll just need to be a little bit patient, and we'll get some sort of ABC pattern across here. And then we can buy that pullback here, or you can just go long above that point there, and we go up into that 3rd wave. We kind of want the US dollar to do the same in reverse as well. So with the US dollar here, we'll be looking, that's just starting to turn up a little bit now. So we'll look at that as some sort of corrective pattern here. Now I've probably drawn this too big, so I'll probably lead you astray by putting that there, but we'll just see. We just need a little bit of patience. There might even be one more little move down here for this, but we still need this. We need this trend here to be corrected. Basically, that's what we're looking for. So it's either here or one more little low to come in, and then we'll look for that. So we've got a bit of time before we need to be going short here or long over here for this, and this will be the same for the euro. If I can cut back to that 2K chart there, we'll have to look at it. I haven't rearranged all of this just yet here. I still like to look at it as corrective rally here, because it's just not, I can get 5 waves out of this here, but like I said, there's overlap with this, so just want to be a little bit careful. But the thing here is that, because of the US dollar giving us 5 waves to the downside, we're seeing that here. So I was thinking, I haven't pulled this apart totally, but 1 and 2 here, and then all the way up for the 3rd wave here and the 4th wave here, then 1 2 3 4 here, then 1 2 3 4 5. So getting quite close to a top here, and that will be in line with the S&P coming into play as well. So then we'll have a look at, basically we're just looking for some sort of correction here really to pull back, because based on that 5 waves here, we should be going up again at that point. We can look to go long here. Yeah, I mean, on the S&P here, by the way, I've got this. We'll need to be a little bit careful here, because we could also look at this, all of this here, in a positive light with the S&P. So that means that if I go back to the 20K, I think it is where we got our positive count for this. So with this here, we could probably end up with a B wave here, an A wave here, and a C wave down here for this, and looking at this as 1 2 3 4 5 here for the A wave, or wave 1, and A B C here, and then going up here. So we want to be looking to short it here, but then we may run into a brick wall at 3650 area here for this, so we'll need to be a little bit careful about that. But what I wanted to say is that move back here, that would coincide with this move coming back into here for the DAX and for the euro and the pound and so on and so on at that point. So yeah, that's the go at this stage. Alrighty, I'll leave it all at that. Yeah, interesting. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.